1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming through this morning to EB Motors Sandton. Members of South African media, as well as our international media from especially the Arabic-speaking countries who are joining us via YouTube streaming, and also members of the public who have requested that they also be part of this conversation and interview. My name is Phumeza Langa, and as part of the MT Sports Marketing and Management team, we do welcome you to this media conference today. We did decide that we're going to host a media conference because of the fact that a lot of media requests have been coming through for one-on-one interviews, and since the announcement of the coaching team joining Al Ahly Saudi, there have been requests to speak to the coaching team. So we thought, let's bring you all together here today, especially because also time being one of the critical things before the team goes. We decided to join you all here. Ramiz, Glenn, and to the entire EB Motors Sandton team, thank you so much for welcoming us today. Few house rules before we get started. If you can please just make sure your cell phones are on silent. We would appreciate that. If you know that there's a call that's coming through, it's an urgent one, if you can pass it to your colleague or just decline the call until you're able to take the call. Also, with regards to restrooms, behind the sliding doors over there by the two gentlemen, if you could just wave, thank you. Onto your right, please do. The bathrooms are there. Just on your right-hand side, you can go to the restroom. Also, please do know, due to this tight schedule, we are going to be really whizzing through this, but we'll just want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to ask the questions. Also, in terms of our Arabic media, they have sent through some questions, so we will alternate between the two, between English as well as Arabic. We have Mr. Bashar, who is going to be our translator for any of the questions from the Arabic media. And thank you so much. Now I hand over to Mr. Coach Pitso Mosimane, but I think in terms of introductions, let's start with Mr. Bashar, our translator, Coach Pitso Mosimane, Coach Gabela Rangwaha, as well as Coach Musi Matlaba, Mr. Carl Solomon, also Coach Carl Solomon, and Ms. Moira Tlhagale, the MD of MT Sports Marketing and Management. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. We are where we are. As you are aware that together with my technical team here, KB, Cabello, is our head of strength and conditioning. And we have Musi Matlaba, who's the head of match analysis and performance analysis. And we have Kyle Solomons, who's assistant to Musi on performance analysis. We have accepted the job in Saudi Arabia. Since we've been around 3 months back, we were with Al Ahly Sports Club, and MT Sports has received numerous offers from clubs and national teams around the world. However, the mandate that we gave MT Sports as a team, we have decided that it's always better to take a project that is interesting and is very challenging, a project that will have an impact in turning a football team into champions. We have a mandate for 2 years of turning this thing around, and we've been tasked, obviously, to take this big club back to the Pro League, which is the Premier League in Saudi. That's our mandate in the first year, of course, and take them to the Premier League, to the Pro League, and consolidate and make sure that we bring them back. It is a big task, it's a big challenging task for us, to be honest. But we're ready for the challenge. And we are excited to be going to Saudi Arabia. As it was announced last Sunday by Al Ahly Sports Club and also by MT Sports, that we have to make sure that we bring back Al Ahly Sports Club, Saudi club, back into the Premier League. We need to be aware that Al Ahly is amongst the top 4 teams in the kingdom of Saudi. It is a team at the level of Hilal, Al Nasser, and Ittihad, but not at the moment in terms of where it is positioned. The club is a big club. I think you as the journalists have made your research. It has a long history of winning titles and is looking forward to go back to the Saudi Pro League. We're looking forward to bring the team back, but we think we have an experience and a track record to be able to achieve the best results and awaken the sleeping giant. Changing the game for good is my personal motto, one thing that I live and work by, and will carry me to the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Thank you.
A journalist, Mohammed Al-Ahoni, and his question for Mr. Pitso Mosimane is, what are your impressions of Saudi football and what do you expect for the Saudi national team in the 2020 World Cup?
لدي سؤال من الصحفي محمد وسؤالي للمدرب بيتسو موسيماني هو ما هي انطباعاتك حول كرة القدم السعودية وما هي توقعاتك لمنتخب السعودية في كأس العالم القادم في 2022 في قطر؟
Of Saudi football and what do you expect for the Saudi national team in the 2022 World Cup?
Yeah, first I can't speak on behalf of the Saudi national team. I think is it Rene? Rene can answer that. Yeah. Havre Renat, yes. Yes, thanks, Musi. Havre Renat can answer that question. I don't think it's fair for me to answer that. By the way, we have 2 players in the team at the moment, in the national team. Yeah, our experience in Saudi, we don't have experience in Saudi, but we have a knowledge in Saudi, and I think the only practical knowledge we have in Saudi is that 6 months back we played the champions of Asia and the champions of Saudi Pro League, which is Al Hilal, and that's the only experience we had, and we played them at the highest stage in the World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, and we know what to expect in terms of that level, at the highest level. But Saudi football is one of the top leagues in the Middle East. We know the standards are high there, and a lot is expected out of us because there's a lot of quality players, even international players, playing even in the first division of Saudi League, to be honest. So, I mean, hence we have 2 players already in the national team. So it shows the standard is high, and it shows the quality or the expectations we have to give to the team.
أولا للإجابة عن السؤال أود أن أقول أنني لا أستطيع التحدث نيابة عن المنتخب السعودي، لأنني لا أعتقد أنه من العدل أن أتحدث بالنيابة عنهم. وبالمناسبة لدينا لاعبان الآن في فريق الأهلي موجودين في المنتخب الوطني. وبالنسبة لمعرفتنا أو لأقل ليس لدينا خبرة كبيرة حول الكرة في السعودية، ولكن لدينا معرفة. ربما قبل 6 أشهر واجهنا نادي الهلال وهو بطل آسيا وبطل الدوري السعودي في كأس العالم للأندية. وأود أن أضيف أيضا أن الكرة السعودية تعد من أفضل الدول التي تلعب كرة القدم في منطقة الشرق الأوسط، وهم يتوقعون ولديهم توقعات كبيرة نظرا لنوعية اللاعبين الموجودين في الدوري السعودي، ولذلك يجب أن أكرر أن التوقعات كبيرة. شكرا.
Thank you. I'll open up the floor before we move on to some other questions from our Arab media. If there's anybody on the floor who would like to ask a question from the panel. Gentleman at the back with the hat.
Coach and your team, congratulations on the new project. I just want to find out, you said there were other offers from different parts of the world. What was it about this one that made you guys accept when you turned the other ones down?
Yeah, as you said, we gave MT Sports a mandate to say they must try and handpick a project that we think is challenging and also will take out of our comfort zone projects. And I said with the guys, we were checking few offers. We looked at the league, we looked at the expectations, and it's also making history for us and keeping our legacy in that space in the Middle East. So somewhere, somehow, you can coach a team in the Premier League that is, for example, sitting on position 12. And then you go to position 8 at the end of the season. Really, okay, you are in the Pro League, but how big difference can you make on that? So we felt this one is a big club. It's amongst top 4 big clubs in Saudi. And the exciting thing is, and I would say also a little bit of a risk, that you have to take this team back to the Premier League, because nothing else. We have to take that team to the Premier League. That's our mandate. That's why we're going there. And how beautiful will it be for the city of Jeddah? You must understand how big that city is in Jeddah. It's a big city. I think it's the second biggest city, if I'm not mistaken. I'm subject to be corrected. And I think everybody knows Jeddah maybe from the religion side of the Mecca, that is the city that everybody goes to with the Muslim religion. So we felt it would be wonderful to make history and give the people of Saudi Al-Ahly back into the Premier League. So we felt this is more challenging for us. And yeah, of course, a risk, but a very good risk. And we have experience, to be honest, of if I look at my career, of really awakening sleeping giants or turning the tables around, because all the teams that I have coached, we have changed the status quo. We never arrived at a team that everything is right and they've got everything. when we were in Egypt, we had to make sure that we turn the international program back because the international program was not there for the last 6 or 7 years, and get back to Champions League and win the Champions League and get back to the World Cup and get back to win the Super Cup. So that was exciting, and we have left a good footprint in that space. And if you look at also my former team, Mamelodi Sundowns, we found it on the position 14th, and we had to take the tables up. And there was also a gap of about 6 to 7 years without a trophy, never mind the league or Champions League, without a normal trophy. So pressure was on us, and we had that, but we turned it around. We can say the same thing as SuperSport United, where I think that was a major overhaul there. At Sundowns, at least we had the players around, and even at Al-Ahly, we had players that won the league, to be honest, when we arrived. But at SuperSport United was a big, major overhaul of a team that hasn't won the cup. I think the only cup they won was a bob save somewhere when still Thomas Madjag was playing. I remember watched that match at the FNB Stadium. I don't know what year is that, you can remember. And then we had to turn the team back, and we went to 6 cup finals in a row. But we're a small team, we won 2, we lost 4. But we even played Champions League. We had to play Esperance, Jeanne d'Arc. We played USMA in Algeria. So we believe that we have the experience of turning things around, and we have done it. It's a fact. So we believe that we can turn the Hilal and awaken the sleeping giant. I don't know if I'm going too fast for you. Yeah, sorry about that.
I will interpret the question first. Your question.
The question was sorry, he's interpreting what I said. Sorry.
I think I remember the question.
Yeah.
I was asking you, what was it about this project that made them accept it when there were
other offers?
حسنا.
What made us take that?
السؤال من وسائل الإعلام الجنوب أفريقية: ما الأمر الخاص حول هذا العرض لكي يقبله الفريق الفني للسيد بيتسو موسيماني؟ الإجابة كانت طبعا أن لقد قبل الفريق الفني العرض السعودي لأنني كما قلت سابقا أن التحدي صعب، ويجب دائما أن نخرج من منطقة الراحة، من منطقة راحتنا. وقد نظرنا إلى الدوري السعودي والتوقعات، ونطمح لإعادة الفريق إلى الدوري الممتاز، كما أننا نحن هناك من أجل صنع التاريخ والمحافظة على إرثنا في الشرق الأوسط. لقد طبعا كما تعلمون ليس هناك جدوى إذا كنت تدرب فريق في الدوري الممتاز وهو موجود في المركز 12 وبعد ذلك تنتقل إلى المركز 8. نعتقد أن النادي الأهلي هو نادي كبير وهو من بين أفضل 4 فرق في الدوري السعودي، وعلينا إعادته إلى الدوري الممتاز. وأيضا أنتم ربما تعلمون عن السعودية أو عن جدة بأنها ثاني أكبر مدينة في السعودية. ربما أنتم تعلمون ربما الجانب الديني أو التاريخ الإسلامي حول مكة وما إلى ذلك. وطبعا نحن أعيد القول أن الهدف الأول هو إعادة نادي الأهلي إلى الدوري الممتاز، ونعرف أنها مخاطرة ولكنها مخاطرة جيدة. ولدينا نحن، وأنا أؤمن أن لدينا في فريقنا خبرة، فكل الفرق التي دربتها سابقا قمنا بتغيير الوضع الراهن الذي تمر به هذه الفرق، فلم نصل إلى هذه الفرق وهي كانت في كل شيء جاهز، بل قمنا بتغيير وقلب الأمور. وعندما كنا في مصر مثلا مع الأهلي المصري أعدنا تفعيل البرنامج الدولي، حيث كان قد مضى 6 أو 7 سنوات من دون جوائز على هذا المستوى، وكان هناك هدف بالعودة إلى دوري الأبطال والمشاركة في كأس العالم، وقد تركنا بصمة جيدة في ذلك المكان. وأيضا يمكن أن أقول نفس الأمر عن ناديي ماميلودي سوبر سان داونز وفريق سوبر سبورت. ففي فريق سوبر سبورت يونايتد كان هناك تحول كبير وإصلاح كبير للنادي، فلم يسبق لهم أن فازوا سوى ربما بكأس واحدة ولا أدري في أي عام، ولكن عندما وصلنا إلى 6 نهائيات للكؤوس وفزنا ب2 منها. لذلك أعتقد نعم أننا لدينا خبرة في هذه الأمور. شكرا.
Maxwell Ramaru, Daily Sun. Through your research, Coach, how big is the gap between the Pro League and the second tier there in Saudi Arabia?
I'll let Musi answer that.
Good morning. Like any other association in a country, the Premier League will always be slightly stronger than the Premier League, than the second division. I think what helps or what's different between in Saudi as compared to South Africa is that in Saudi you have some national team players playing within the lower league, still playing for international teams, so they're still able to compete at the highest level. And obviously with the size of the league, they're able to recruit better players from around the world. So you find players from South America, players from Asia, players from Africa as well, who are top players in their continents, but playing within the Premier League or the first division of Saudi. So there's not so much of a difference between the two leagues, but obviously there'll be that slight change or that slight difference in quality between the two divisions.
حسنا، السؤال كان هو ما هو كبر الفجوة بين الدوري الممتاز ودوري الدرجة الأولى في السعودية مقارنة بجنوب أفريقيا؟ الإجابة كانت أن مثله مثل أي اتحاد في العالم، الدوري الممتاز أقوى قليلا من الدرجة الثانية، ولكن الفرق مع جنوب أفريقيا أن في الدوري السعودي هناك لاعبين موجودين في المنتخب الوطني وهم يلعبون في الدوري الممتاز أو في مراكز متدنية أو في الدرجة الأولى، وكما أن هناك أيضا لاعبين محترفين من أمريكا الجنوبية ومن أفريقيا يلعبون في الدوري الممتاز وفي الدرجة الأولى. لذلك نعم مثله مثل أي اتحاد، ولكن هذا هو الفرق مع جنوب أفريقيا. شكرا.
Thank you. There's a question that has come through for Ms. Takhale. The question is around the negotiation of this particular contract. How has it been in terms of the differences from other contract negotiations, especially understanding the mandate that has been given to you by your team?
Good morning, everybody. I must just say for us as MT Sports, as coaches said, there were a lot of offers that were on the table that came through, but the mandate from them was quite clear that they needed a project that is more challenging, and we always had to reflect back as a team on that mandate. As for the issue of negotiation, I think I've really had a privilege over the years of negotiating with different types of people that has actually enabled me to have some form of perfection also in being able to wave my way around the negotiation. But for me, the key thing not being the winner taking it all, but balancing between the terms of one party and also at some point not even agreeing with my clients, their mandate, to ensure that in the end the deal works. So my approach is never about winning all, but making sure that at the end of the agreement of that contract, both parties are happy and are in agreement and can work well together. Because one finds that sometimes when it's one way, the relationship just starts on a wrong footing. Thank you.
To balance the relationship.
And we have some.
Okay, Mark Stradom, Times Live. Coach, we know it's difficult for coaches from Africa to take the step out the continent. You've spoken of it yourself. You were known in the Middle East, so the Gulf seemed like a possible destination. What does it mean for you and your team to be moving out the continent? Is there something strategic in it that you're looking to broader horizons? I know you've got the job here first. Just what does it mean to you? Because it's a big step. I know there's a few South Africans doing it at the moment, but it's a big step, especially for an African coach to move out the continent.
السؤال من صحيفة تايمز لايف. السيد المدرب موسيماني، من الصعب طبعا على أي مدرب أفريقي من الصعب أعيد تكرار السؤال. من الصعب جدا على أي مدرب أفريقي الخروج من القارة الأفريقية. وأريد أن أسأل ماذا يعني هذا الخروج من القارة والذهاب إلى منطقة الشرق الأوسط أو إلى قارة آسيا؟ هل هو تخطيط استراتيجي لنظام عملكم؟ وأنا أعلم أنها خطوة كبيرة جدا. شكرا.
Yeah, Mark, as we said that we made a proper selection on selecting the right project. Many reasons. One is to break the barriers. Two is to move out of the continent, to go to a different continent, because we've been in Africa for long, Mark, and to be honest, I think for my team, in reality, when you look at things, you say, what is it that we want to win at club football in Africa? And I think that answer is very simple, that we are now recycling. And how exciting is it for us and challenging is it for us to go to the Champions League final, the fourth one in a row. I mean, we are not trying to blow our own trumpet, but we have to get a different challenge. And that's why we felt Asia it's a place for us to see, to test ourselves, and to see if what's in there and what contributions can we do there, you know. And also, it's not only for that; it's also for. I always speak to the coaches. I'm in the group of South African coaches. Also, I also say that if you look at what the Dutch national teams, the Serbians, are doing, Italians are starting to move also from Italy to other countries. We need to move to other continents, I mean other countries in Africa. You can't tell me that we don't have a coach in the PSL who can go to Tanzania where football is at. It's so exciting in Tanzania. I mean, you see West Africans, East Africans all flocking to Tanzanian football now because there's a vibe in Tanzania. Simba, Yanga, Azam, it's beautiful. It's full. I was there last time. I was invited on the Nyanga week. They call it Wananchi week. I mean, one stadium filling 60,000, one team filling a 60,000. 3 days after, Simba filling the same stadium full. And then you tell me now, when those two teams play each other, I mean, it means there's no tickets left. So we need to move, and I'm happy that Benny has broken now the barrier of the English football. Fatlu. Doesn't matter whether he's an assistant or what. He's now in Russia doing European football. Okay, thanks to JZ to take him along. And Benny is a coach, no matter that he's coaching the strikers and the midfielders, that's a coach. That's a big responsibility because you don't win games without scoring goals. So he's also under pressure and stress. So South African players and coaches, we need to move. And if Europe is not easy for us to go into, we need to go to North Africa, and North Africa will give you a step to get into Asian football and Middle East Asian football. And there's no any other reasons than those people that we spoke about. Roger Desai is doing Asian football now with Carlos Queiroz. So it really shows that South Africa has potential in coaches and has potential also in players. I mean, Tulani Serrero in Abu Dhabi and Al Jazeera is a big club, huge club in Emirates. So, and yeah, so we have the space, we have the opportunities, but how ready are we as South Africans, as coaches and mostly coaches? Because sometimes we tend to stay too long around here and recycle inside the PSL, whereas there's a big team, Sofapaka in Kenya. There's a big team in Ghana, Asante Kotoko, Hearts of Oak, they're playing Champions League. Rivers United is playing Champions League. Hilal Sudan, they can able to take Florent from Morocco, who is East African, into that. So South African coaches also should think different and also come out of the comfort zone. Yes, where we are is not easy. Your social life is not as good as you want here, you know? We don't have exactly what you want here. And we leave our families behind, and my family is used to not seeing me. But I don't know if our African coaches are ready for this task, because if you want to coach in Tanzania, you're not going to have the Joburg life. You're not going to have that. And we know we have been traveling. We don't have the Joburg life. We have left it for the last 2 years, and we know how it is, and we're going for another 2 years. You know, it's always good to stay around here. You know, it's nice, but over there is tough, and you know the media, and you know the mentality, and you know it's a win at all costs. So I don't know if our coaches are ready for that, to be honest. Sorry, I killed you there. Sorry. Slowly.
إذن السؤال كان ترجمنا السؤال عفوا. لقد للإجابة عن هذا السؤال حول الخروج من القارة، لقد قمنا باختيار هذا المشروع لعدة أسباب، وأولها هو كسر الحواجز والخروج من القارة، لأننا كنا في أفريقيا لمدة طويلة، وطبعا أنا وفريقي نسأل أنفسنا ما الذي تبقى لنفوز به في أفريقيا، فقد تأهلنا إلى 4 مرات تقريبا للنهائي، ولذلك قلنا أن قارة آسيا مكان مناسب لنختبر أنفسنا ونرى ما يمكننا القيام به. أود أيضا أن أقول أنني دائما ما أتحدث مع المدربين في جنوب أفريقيا وأطالبهم وأحثهم على الانتقال إلى بلدان أخرى، وأقول ربما نستطيع أن ننتقل إلى شرق أفريقيا في تنزانيا أو في كينيا، هناك شغف بكرة القدم هناك، وهكذا ننتقل ونكسر هذه الحواجز الموجودة. كما أنه من المفيد ربما الانتقال إذا كانت أوروبا صعبة مثلا، ربما يمكننا الانتقال إلى شمال أفريقيا، وهي تعطي طبعا الحافز أو الدفعة للانتقال بعدها إلى الكرة الآسيوية.
ونرى أيضا أن هناك الكثير من اللاعبين الآن يتوجهون إلى هذه المنطقة، مثل تولاني حيث سيلعب في نادي أبو الجزيرة في أبو ظبي، وهو نادي كبير. ولكن أيضا أود أن أقول أن هناك أيضا فرق كبيرة في كينيا وغانا والسودان، ولكن بالطبع هذا يترافق مع صعوبات اجتماعية، فليس لدينا نفس الأسلوب من الحياة الاجتماعية مثلا في تنزانيا مقارنة بما نعيشه في جوهانسبرغ. وبالطبع هو صعب علينا لأنني على المستوى الشخصي تركت عائلتي لمدة 2 والآن سوف أذهب أيضا لمدة 2 إلى الخارج. فهذا هو التحدي الذي يأتي مع هذا الأمر، أي أنه ليس هناك حياة مشابهة لما نعيشه هنا. وشكرا.
Okay, looks like it's on. Just a follow-up on this, the coach is going to Europe, your Fadlu and so on. For you, do you see this as somewhat of a window closer a bit to Europe? And on the offers that you were talking about, was there anything in South Africa? Because as I'm hearing you speak that we must get out of here as coaches, does it mean that you are lost for good to South African football, or could you return a bit sooner? And maybe to KB as well. I mean, you've worked with different players at Al Ahly here. What can you say about the differences in conditioning? And I'm asking with reference to South Africans to say, what can we do, or where are we behind in terms of our conditioning and as well as our training?
Good afternoon. As for the conditioning, I think players all over the world are the same, but the difference between South Africa, Egypt, and now with Saudi, it's a little bit easier in the Arab nations because of their never say die attitude. So when it's time to train, it's time to train. When it's time to work, it's time to work. Whereas back home, yes, we do work hard, but there'll always be 1 or 2 players who likes to enjoy themselves a little bit more. But in the Arab world, business is business, and that's what I appreciate about training the players from that side.
Yeah. What was your question, Skip? You knew that's coming here.
I know, you knew. So the first was, do you see this as a window closer to Europe, where you can get into that space? And the second was on the offers that you say that MT Sport got, was there something from South Africa? And if not, are you seeing yourself coming back here anytime soon, even if it's not straight after this project?
I think we should look at the positive side out of Benny. They know Benny is a coach. So I think him being there at Man United, I think can be a passage easier to go to another Premier League. Even the first division in England is still good. He can get a gig there, and he's in Scotland. He can also get a good team there because he is with Man United and is Benny McCarthy. He can go to Portugal where he scored all the goals to win the CAF Champions League. Now he's in that space. So I look up to him as the guy who can open doors for us. And Bradley Carner is in the Major League Soccer. Good guy, good guy. I coached him in Bafana 2017. I look up to him also as the guy who can open doors for us in the Major League Soccer. Fadlu is in Russia, and maybe can get a team in the division below after that, after they see his work. An opportunity also there. So opportunities for all of us, and I believe in no doubt in the North Africa there's an opportunity for South African coach after we have left there, because they know us in Morocco, they know us in Algeria, they know us in Tunisia. So there is an opportunity for our coaches to move. The question, as we all said, is, are they ready to do that? And it's not an easy way out there. But yes, I'm still open for South African teams. Never say never. Why not? Muscat. But the project must be good. It's not about come and coach and help us. The project must be good. There must be a plan. There must be a vision. There must be time frames. And if you ask Pep Guardiola if can he win the Premiership with Norwich United, what do you think? It's not easy. Pep, Thomas Tuchel, Ancelotti, and all those guys. When you have a good team, when you have good football players, you have an institution, you have 50,000 bums on the seat, a big club, you have a big influence on the results. So you need the players. Mourinho always tells you, if you want a good amulet, you must have good eggs. So you can't just take a club because maybe you're getting paid. They can afford to pay you. It's the project. What do you want? How do you see it? When? What do we have on the market for local league? What do we have on the market for CAF, whether it's Confederation Cup or Champions League? What do we want? Because it's easy to come number 2 and go to Champions League, and then what? I think you've seen many teams have qualified for Champions League or CAF Confederation Cup. Even Black Leopards played Confederation Cup. I must tell you, yes, I got Mabunda from there. They played Confederation Cup, and they kept going. But how long can you take this? What is endurance and sustainability? What do you want? Football has changed. It's evolved. Before football, we used to have big names and big teams as big institutions, well supported, but I think even in England, has told you what, Arsenal is still coming back, Man United is still coming back, Milan just came back. How long they've been out of the circle? You know, we had teams in Germany like Bochum and Borussia no, not Dortmund. Mönchengladbach. Those are Schalke 04. I think they were relegated, if I'm not mistaken. Schalke. Yeah, that's the life of football. It's not in South Africa. It's the way it is in the world. Al Ahly Jeddah, where we are. So our local teams also. It's not about taking this coach out and bringing the next coach out. You need an overall, and you see where Arsenal have done. They've really went down to make sure that they get even younger players and all that, and there's no pressure on Arteta to win the league and all that. So Barca has turned things around. They even loan players to get back because they know that they need players to fill the stadium, and you can see they're still coming back, to be honest. So it is all about Muscat. It's not about this is a big team, come and coach, or maybe we can even afford to pay you. We must also look at ourselves, and you don't want to be making career suicide decisions just because it's a big name, or maybe they can afford to pay you. So it's a project, as we said. I don't know if I've answered you.
Yeah.
One chance.
One on one. Yes. Coach Velile from SABC, congratulations on you and the team on this new adventure. Just on, I think if I remember very well, you and Coach Javier Renat, the first time it was in 2012, and it's the year that they won the AFCON, and you gave him a training match at that time. And I would imagine that, or maybe you're still in the process of just getting in touch with him in terms of understanding, because I heard from, we see from the media that side that they came to you and you said they give you 3 days and you were consulting, or maybe was he one of the people you were consulting with within that 3-day period, just to get the feel of what is happening there? And also, Coach, if you can just touch on the kind of football that you are going there in that period that you were looking, what kind of football did you see? Because I'm sure that they would also have been interested and attracted by what you did with Al Ali.
Yeah, Velile, some of the things I'll answer one-on-one. Yeah, because you're going underground. But what I will say is that, yes, Javier Renat is a coach that I really look up to him, to be honest. He humbled himself from playing football in France as a player and coming down to Zambia, and what a project he took that me and you, we never ever thought that this project can come up like that, and won the AFCON. He won to, I think he won to Cote d'Ivoire, if I'm not mistaken. Also won the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire. He was in Morocco. I didn't have a chance to see him in Morocco. But I was in the same space when with our pro license. He was around also. And of course he didn't win the AFCON there, but he has left his footprint well, and look where he is now in the Saudi in the World Cup, and qualified them in the World Cup. Yeah, we look up to those people, and they inspire us, and we learn from them, because the routes that we take are tough routes. When I was in Zambia, I knew where he was staying. I met him in Zambia, we spoke, and you ask yourself, a guy who played football at the highest level in France can humble himself and even stay where he was staying. I saw where he stayed. So those are the things that really, really inspire me and say, there's no free lunch, Velile. You work up to those spaces, and sometimes people look at you, they say, oh, look where he is, he's lucky. No, we're not lucky. We come from different backgrounds and humble beginnings to make our career. We didn't come from Europe because I played in Europe, I played for Bafana, and then suddenly I'm assistant coach at Chiefs or Pirates, and then in the next year and a half I have a gig, then I'm coaching another team in the Premier League. You know, I labored, I went to Soweto, I was a scout at Supersport United, I was a youth coach, I was assistant coach, I was interim coach, and I think you know where we are now. So it is that level of breaking barriers, and how far do you want it? How far do you want it? Because sometimes I just feel that we can coach because it's a good profile, you are on TV, and we can take children to school and pay the bond, and also live a soft life as coaches in South Africa. We can live a soft life in South Africa. So, but how long will that take you? So I hope I've answered you. Musi says he'll answer the second part.
Yeah, I think what you asked about the 3 days, I think that was mainly just for us to get games on the team, so that we could watch them, so we could analyze the players, so we could understand what kind of a squad we have. And obviously we have our principles of how we want to play, we want the ball all the time, and when we don't have it, we want to get it back as quick as possible. We want a lot of movement and interplay. So it was just watching those games to see if those moments have happened, because if they've done something once, even if they did it once, it means you're capable of doing it again. And it's just for us to be able to implement through our video and through our training sessions that we can get them to do it more regularly. So that's all we wanted to see, if the team that we were looking at, if there's areas to progress and if they can adapt to how we want to play and to the intensity that we want to play.
And I think KB also has discovered a few things on the condition of the players. He gave me a report that there are areas that we need to improve, as Musi is talking about our philosophy, the way we play, our software, we call it. KB has highlighted that, we have a little bit of a challenge. We need to improve there and there and there in those areas, conditionally for the people to play in the way we play, because sometimes the way we play demands, has a lot of game demands on the body. So KB knows the way I want to play, and he must make sure that the way I want to play, the players have the condition to play the way we want to play. So we have highlighted that. And then Musi and Kyle over there, Kyle has been working very hard, even on the next opponents that we're playing against, bringing it out, and he has already given me the report on the team we are meeting, because we don't have enough time. We want to hit the ground running. But the team is good. The team's got good players. Of course, the team lost many good players. When you go to the division below, you lose 60% or 70% of the players. But what we see and what they have, we think we can win the Premiership. It's not easy because you lost a lot of players, but we think we can bring it back.
Afternoon, Coach. It's Komoto from Sunday World. Coach, you seem to have formed a dream team with the guys here. And then when you get to Saudi Arabia, are you going to get a Saudi Arabian maybe assistant that may understand the players, the league, the surroundings better? And were there any difficulties in negotiating to bring all the guys on board with the club?
When we get to places like that, our experience and history has told us what is important for us. Of course, we need somebody over there in the club that knows the players much better than us, that knows the team much better than us. And we need somebody closer to us. You can't go to a country and don't involve anybody. That's your biggest downfall. So you have somebody who knows the team, who knows players well. Because it's not about tactics, it's the mentality also. It's somebody who will tell you that the mentality is like this and like this. When we went to Egypt, we got a lot of things that we were not aware of. You have to respect the culture, you have to respect the religion. Those things are very, very, very key. If you respect the culture and the religion, it's the biggest tick that you can ever have. So we need people like that to guide us in terms of those principles that are really, really, really important. But we know the team, we know the players are now. We have good players. We can talk about the team. We know the team. And when I say we know the team, we know the team. We've made a research, and I have the soldiers here who make it easier for me and bring it to me, so that when I check back and look, I just tick the boxes of what they have done. Say, okay, this is right, this is good, this is that. So that's why I have them. And I've been working with these guys. Kyle just joined us last year, but I've been working with these guys for the last 10 years. And I think you know the relationship is no longer now coach and technical relationship. We are friends, we are brothers. We became family, and these are my closest people to me, to be honest, because when you're in football, you lose friends, you lose family people because you are always away. And I spend this time with them more than my wife and my family, you know, which is true. Come again? No, it's a winner. You take everything. No, you can't have us, and I don't have my team. I mean, it's like going to the war and you leave ammunition behind. How are you gonna fight with the ammunition left behind? These are my people. These people have won. Oh, I don't know how many trophies we've won with them. A lot of trophies we've shared, and we have lost a lot of trophies together. So it's part of the process.
Good afternoon, everybody. For me personally, I think it's going to be adaptation for the players in the team for what our demands are and what we expect. We were successful in Egypt before because we stuck by what we believe and we stuck to our principles. And if we have a team in Saudi, I believe they have the ability to adapt to that and to work with us. I think it will be a very successful journey for us. I'm really excited, and I think we all are excited because we know the challenge. And if we are not challenged, it's not gonna. We won't be able to be as effective, if I can say it like that. We work well under pressure, and we know that the team that we're going to is a really good team, a top team with top players. And yeah, I think it's about adaptation, and that will probably be the challenge for us, is just being able to adapt quickly to a new team and a new squad and a new country as well. Thank you.
Hi, Coach. Delmain here from Soccer Laduma. Coach, at your previous club, we saw you rope in two players that were familiar to you in Percy and Louis Mikisone. Is there a possibility that we could see you, once you get to Jeddah, rope in more South African players, not even South African players, just players that you are familiar with, even if it's ones from Al Ahly, from the PSL? Is there a possibility that we could see a few players follow you that side?
You don't just do things because you have to assess the team, you have to assess the squad, and the game tells you if you need a player at a certain space, certain positions, and also you know that the transfer is closed now. So there was an Argentinian coach there, and he was part of that, and players signed. So we take what is on the table. And that's what we did when we came to Al Ahly. The transfer was closed. We took what was on the table. So there's no time to moan and give excuses where we are. You're supposed to win, and people want you to win. People want to get to the Premier League. And yeah, if there's opportunity, maybe the next break, the next window, and maybe in future, you can always look around and see what we can bring. And it's always good also to bring South African players into those spaces and that. But it's very difficult to bring South African players to that space in the Middle East. It's not an easy thing because they need to adapt. Social life different. And the other stuff also is, if you need a player in Congo, if you need a player in Ghana, if you need a player in Nigeria or other places, I'm telling you, it's easy to do it. And with the finances also, it's easy to do it. That's why in Morocco you find the whole DRC is in Morocco, whether in the Premier League or First Division, even in the First Division of Saudi, there's players. But the South African market is not easy one. The teams expect a lot of money. That's the challenge. That's why African players move. That's why we have about 4 Africans. We've got about 2 maybe in Zambia in the Premier League in England, and we have a lot of Zimbabweans and Zambians in the Premier League. Why we don't have in South Africa? Because the transfers are very difficult. In Europe, once, if you look at Red Bull, Salzburg, they've got about 4 Ghanaian players. 4. They were playing in Ghana 2 years back. But they are able to move to there and they play in Champions League. But why not in South Africa? You want to tell me we don't have the players? The transfers are big here. People speak 30 million, 40 million, and players don't move. And that's why we don't have players playing in that space. And it also kills the national team. But maybe people ask for money, clubs ask for money that they deserve, because that's what they think they should get. And you can't argue that, because everybody knows why. He says the player is worth 30 million. But then the challenge is the same player moves for even half or 3%, 10% of that. He moves to the same space. South African player lose the opportunity. They play in the English Premier League, and when you're playing in Red Bull Salzburg and Premier League, I think you know that the families of those players, their lives will change, because there is not where you're coming from. They pay you what you're supposed to get paid, and you move. Patson Dagger, there he is now playing in the Leicester City. So the challenge is not easy to make transfers from South Africa. I tried when I was in Al Ahly, you know that. I couldn't, because to expect $5 million, I mean, really, it's not easy. So that's the challenge about that's the sad part about South African players. They're not going to go move easily to Europe, not because they don't have capacity, but maybe our country is strong in terms of social life and how much we pay, because the DStv Premier League pays more than Congo, Zambia, Zimbabwe. So maybe that's also a reality to say. That's why players don't move. But they lose out, and Bafana loses out.
Next question.
Lorenzo from Ituski Times. You've always said that it's a challenge to compete in the Champions League because of the things off the field in Africa rather than what's happening on the field. But you said now going to Saudi Arabia will be your biggest challenge of your coaching career with your technical team. But there is also a little bit of soft life in the Gulf. There's lots of money. It's not as crazy and chaotic as, East Africa, West Africa. But you've got a 2-year deal. Does that mean that your mandate is promotion Champions League? Because obviously you won't get into the Asian Champions League within 2 years. And then secondly, the Saudi Pro League, 14 European coaches, 1 South American coach and a Tunisian. You've always said that's something that excites you. So I'm sure that played a big role in all of your guys' decision to say, let's go to the next step?
We have capacity to be in that space, and our job says that, not our arrogance says that. Our job says that, and by the way, many of those people, we have met them, and we have played against them, and I think you know the results. So I think we can in that space, and in life, we all move to challenging jobs. And when I look at you, I know where you started and I know where you are. And I know, and you can agree with me, that where you started as a journalist, you were paid different to where you are now. Because I see you now in the World Cup with me, next to me, yeah, and all that, and I'm asking myself, who pays for that? So I understand now you have grown and you have developed to be where you are, and I think you asked for your money that you think you deserve. So we are also. We are in the same space. So everybody grows. Khumuzo can tell you now is the editor there of Sowetan. I know where Khumuzo started with me. And life has changed, and we have families to look after. So all of us, including yourself. So the same applies to me.
Hi, good afternoon. Daniel from City Press. Coach, you played in Qatar during the later stages of your career. Would you say that has also come into play in terms of the experience you gained then? Yes, football has evolved. Football in that space has evolved from then to now. Would you say that also gave you a good capacity as a coach now, going over and again coaching in that type of an environment where, like you say, there's no social life, there is just religion, football, and the desert?
Yeah, I'm not saying there's no social life. I'm saying the social life is not the same. We have to get the same, we have to get the right answers there. There is social life. We can play golf there if you want to play golf. There's golf courses. And in Saudi, there's a Grand Prix. If you want to watch that, there's a Grand Prix. So there's a lot of good things happening that we don't have here. It's just that in Egypt, we were in a whirlpool, in a biggest whirlpool for 2 years, where you have a game every 3 days. And the good thing about that is that 2 years goes fast because you're busy. But yeah, we have experience of, especially me, I have experience of playing with the Arabs, and I have experience of coach them also. So I know the differences in culture, the differences in mentality, and all that. But each region has its own ways, you know. So we haven't been to Saudi and live in Saudi. Qatar, we know, and we've been playing in that space for a long time, also now. But Saudi is a challenge for us, I must tell you. We haven't been, and we know that the Saudi league is strong and is big, and they have VAR in the first division. The pitches are all flat and well looked after. Teams are proper, you know. So it's a good space for us. But we'll learn the mentality, we'll learn the culture. We know few words in Arabic. The guys here, they know a few words in Arabic, and we try and speak to them in Arabic, because if you show that, it means you are interested. It means you are one of us, And we learn the language, it's unbelievable. So we are not fluent, but we can communicate. So we get in there. The guy speaks, I can hear you. Some of the words, not all. What is he talking about and all that. So we're getting by. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the conclusion of our media conference. We do thank you all for being here, for your time and your patience, as well as the questions. There are still some treats. If you'd like something to eat, you're more than welcome to stay for a little bit and have that before you're on your way to file your stories. Thank you so much to the coaching team, to our MD.
The EB Motors, they've been good to us, the gentleman over there, and I think my brother here, Lorenz, I think there's a nice German car for you there. You know, you have elevated to that level now. So there's a nice German machine there. The gentleman there wants to show it to you. Yeah, inshallah you get it. Okay, so thank you, AB Motors, for the venue, and we are humble, we appreciate it. And you do mind to come for 1 minute and speak for yourself? And tell them who you are.
Firstly, I'd like to say thanks to Coach and his team for the opportunity. It's big for us as a new branch opening in Sandton to have this type of opportunity. It's big for us, and we'd love to host you guys more often. We wish Coach all the best in his new endeavors, and I'm sure he'll get Al Ahly to the Premier League.
That's it?
Perfect.
That's it. All the best, Coach.
Thank you. The guy there wants to buy your car.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, EB Motors, as well as our audiovisual team. We really do appreciate it. Ladies, gentlemen, have a good afternoon.